stereo. Live in stereo.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of RawCast. As always, I'm RawTactics, joined with my co-host TrueBlue. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good. I'm very good. Glad to be here for another RawCast. It's very sunny in Scotland right now, so the mood is good.
It's a nice, dark, dreary evening here in Korea. So, what you been up to this past week? What have you been playing?
So, what have I been playing? I've been dipping into Rage 2, so I've been playing that. So that I got that a while back on a Steam sale. Not played it before. I've not played the first one either, so this is my first introduction to the Rage series, and I'm having a
Nice.
lot of fun with it. It's one of those games where you can dive into, and it's a shooter. It's pretty much a boomer shooter, really. Brought up to the modern ages, although it is quite an older game now. I think it was like in the just before, was it 2018, something like that, 2019? I'll have to
That
look at
sounds
that. But
about
yeah,
right, yeah.
yeah, it's one of them. But yeah, like I said, it's a game where you can just jump in and it's big old guns and it's shoot them all in the face, all the good stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's a game where you're just you can switch off and blast the hell out of people, and upgrade your guns, all the good stuff. Yeah, been playing that again. I've been diving back into Fallout 4. I'm still building my castle. Constantly
Nice.
building my castle, yeah. So yeah, I've been chilling doing that and recruiting my settlers, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Fallout 4 is a staple for me. Been playing that, and I've been jumping in and out of what do you call it, Delta Force. So I've been doing that
God, I'm
again.
still waiting to get
That
access, man. I'm still waiting on access.
Yeah, as soon as you get access, you need to squad up with us, and we'll
Yeah, for
blast some
sure.
people on that, 100%. But yeah, that's like really good Battlefield clone. I think I touched on it last podcast, but
Yeah.
Battlefield clone sort of thing that's been enhanced a little bit and added new features. But yeah, I've been enjoying playing that, and it's upgrading guns, like getting new loadouts, all that sort of stuff. Playing infantry, tanking. I've been playing Chopper, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, they're probably the main three I've been playing. But yeah, it's pretty decent. And again, I've kind of ignored my Steam library, my backlog, but I'll need to sort that out again at some point. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. What about yourself?
What's going on? I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been playing. We beat Mafia. We started Mafia 2 recently. Got through like 4.5 hours of that. Got hit with like 16 copyright claims. Gotta
Yeah,
love streaming on YouTube, man. Gotta love it. Um, let's see. Well, we hop back into Fallout 3 for the first time, I think, ever on the channel. That may have been my first Fallout 3 stream ever. Um,
oh wow.
yeah, they wanted to see an evil playthrough, so that's what we've been doing. It's been modded to crap, but been having a blast with that. Uh, Also Oblivion. If you remember the old Oblivion playthrough that we started like months ago, that I kind of abandoned for like 6 months, we hopped back into that, and that was crazy. That was so much fun.
Oblivion, man. That's such a top game for me. I think we talked about it last week with the sort of mod that's coming out, Sky Oblivion and stuff. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, Oblivion, like, it holds a place in my heart. It does, because we talked about it, the Battle of Kvatch, little things that you remember, don't you, from that game,
Right.
all that stuff. Really good game. But I don't think I seen any of your playthrough, so I'll need to check it out a little bit, especially the now you're revisiting it. But yeah, class
Oh
game.
yeah, for sure. We got like almost 5 hours of gameplay in the other day. I kept trying to tell myself that I'm gonna stop, but I was like, nah. I got a little time. I'm taking full advantage. Well,
Nah.
uh, I I hate to kind of just completely flip this script, but there's some stuff we really need to talk about right now. So, well, on stream, for those of you that were with us, I think it was actually the when we were finishing up the original Mafia playthrough. On stream, I was talking about how there's certain agendas that are kind of being forced upon certain companies right now in the games industry, and there's a there's a lot of controversy being stirred up between what Black Myth Wukong. That game is breaking all types of records right now. It just released what, August 20th, so like 3 days ago. It's sitting at overwhelmingly positive with 300,000 votes on Steam right now. If you want to go into a little bit about the controversy itself, a little bit more about what's going on, you're a bit more well versed than I am. I'll let you take
Yeah,
over on
so
that one.
cool. So yeah, I've been following this a little bit. I've not played um, Black Myth Wukong. However, it seems like, well, like Roger said, the game has exploded. The figures are incredible. Everybody wants to play it, and there's a reason for that, I think, because it's made right. So I'll just give you a little bit of background, but it's made sort of, well, it's made from a Chinese company. I'm just going to get my research correct. So yeah, it's made by. Let's have a look. Remind me, Rob, what was it? Who was it that made these
Game
guys?
science.
Yeah, so Game Science. These guys developing this a gaming studio from China, and to sort of cut a long story short, these guys were like, "We're making this game how we want it. There's going to be no, let's say, uh, Western influence, right? There's
Right,
going to be no, like, the DEI side of it is going to be, we're doing what we want basically. There's going to be no message, the message, right? There's going to
right,
be no politics in there. It's just going to be a game that they want to create and they want to do. And if anyone, has a problem with it, they can go F themselves, right? So a lot of gamers like that stuff, and it's clear from the figures and the concurrent player base. It's been actually loved. Everyone's playing it at the minute. Because of these. Well, the game itself is supposed to be very solid. I have not played it yet. I've only seen
neither have
reviews,
I.
I'm going from that. But it seems like it's overwhelmingly positive with the fan base, right? Now, the controversy with this is there's another game that came out around about the same time, and that is called Dustborn, right? To cut a long story short, this game has majorly flopped, right? Dustborn is like a sort of, how can I describe it? It's
It,
DEI heavy.
I'm showing the
It's
thumbnail right now, like
yeah,
the main thumbnail. You guys could probably gather a few things just off of this.
Yeah, so it's DEI heavy. It's got a lot of message. It's supposed to be made for this mythical modern audience, right? I'm gonna
Right.
be like, yeah, this is like it's controversial, but I don't care. It's like it's made for this modern audience that doesn't seem to exist. And the reason I say that is because the game itself has majorly flopped. I think it's got like 83 concurrent players. Now, the controversy, like I said, these games came out around the same time, and it caused a bit of, you know, to and fro on Twitter. It seems like, one side, let's just call it the left and the right for argument's sake, right? So the left or more progressive people have been pushing this game. IGN gave this game, Dustborn, a 7 out of 10, right? So yeah, of course they did. And it's got 89 concurrent players right now. It is majorly flopped. No one's playing it. It looks absolute, messaging, politics, activist-driven garbage, right? And the figures speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got on the flip side, you've got this. Let's just call it the right side in terms of the right side of gaming, where people have went, nah, we're not interested in that. That looks absolute rubbish. We're not interested in this sort of being sort of pushed and preached to by these DEI companies, and went, we're buying Black Myth Wukong, which, as you can see, has a massive audience. It's completely floored it financially, and everybody's loving it. Now, Raw, I don't know. I mean, the story tells itself, right? What's your opinion on that? There's the left and the right that are arguing amongst themselves, and
I mean,
the figures themselves tell the story. I
yeah,
mean, what's your take?
100%. Like the
What's your take?
numbers. Sorry, the the little bit of latency between us. My bad. But yeah,
Yeah,
100%. The numbers do not lie. Like these games, you guys can see on screen right now. They released the exact same day, August 20th, 2024. August 20th, 2024. Wukong is sitting at overwhelmingly positive with over 300,000 reviews, and then you have 60 reviews on Dustborn, like completely targeting two different audiences. But the thing, like we were going into on stream again, like and like Blue was just covering, they keep pushing
narratives.
certain narratives. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Pushing certain narratives on the games industry and like forcing their way into certain things. And every single time it ends up being a flop. And it's like all these predominantly Western companies just keep buying into it and pushing this same what was the word you
Agenda.
used? The
It's,
same,
it's
yeah.
agenda or narrative. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying not to say certain words, but
yeah.
yeah, pushing certain narratives, pushing certain agendas, and the game that came out and just went back to what we knew as gaming, like being
Yeah.
a little bit older gamers, like we're not in the newer generation with all the woke crazy nonsense is going on right now.
I mean, like we touched on it already, Ross. Sorry to butt in, but it's like when we were buying games, like we didn't really. If the character was, I don't know, it didn't matter what character, what race the character was. It could have
At
been
all.
anything, right? We didn't
Anything.
care. We didn't care. We bought the game solely for the purpose of it being a good game. We didn't look into the
Exactly.
political side. We didn't look into the political side. We didn't look into who was pushing it, who was developing it. As long as it was a good game, we would buy it, right? I'm pretty sure
Exactly.
I'm talking for you as well, Rob. We'd buy the game. I would be hyped looking at the instruction manual or looking at it on the way home, from buying it at electronics boutique or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And we would be hyped to play the game. Or we play the game. If the game was good, great. We would be straight onto our friends or whatever and saying, "This is amazing. The story is great. The characters are great, or whatever. You need to play this game." Whereas now, like Ross correctly said, it seems like, well, it doesn't seem like it. It's pretty obvious that that gaming companies have certain agendas and narratives that they want to drive to this modern audience that seem, well, from the figures that don't lie, doesn't exist. There's a small majority of people that want to play these games, minority should I say, that want these games, but nobody else wants them. And I think the figures from Dustborn and Black Myth Wukong says it all, tells its own story, and I think a lot of gaming devs need to wake up a little bit and see that, we, see what gamers actually want, and they will start making profit again, as opposed to, I mean, that Dustborn, I mean, they that's a complete disaster for a development company, isn't it? How much money are they going
Yeah.
to make from that? Do you know what I mean? It's like that is
Yeah.
I've never seen a game flop so much in my life.
like Void just said in chat, an utter waste of time and artistic talent. Like, I was, look at the number again. The numbers don't lie. Black Myth Wukong hits 2.2 million concurrent players on launch day. What? What? Compare that to what? I don't even remember
Dustborn.
the Dustborn. Compare that to that, and then that's just sad.
But it's clear as day what's going on. Do you know what I mean? They take us. They think we're stupid. Do you know what I mean? They think that, oh yeah, we'll buy into this, or I mean, I don't get their target. Well, I do get their target audience, but the target audience is, I'm talking Dustborn here, is like a small minority of people.
And in the
That
gaming community specifically, that is such a small minority because you're already taking a segmented minority and you're segmenting them further. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, and
yeah,
you,
absolutely.
I understand that you want to cater to all audiences, but like we were talking about, you can be all inclusive. But when that is the entire narrative behind a game and that's all that's being pushed, no one cares. We
I'm
literally
gonna
just talked about this a few days ago. Like, it's
yeah.
crazy.
There's a scene, right, that I've not played, right. Again, I've not played Dustborn and I've not played um Black Myth Wukong. However, there was one scene that, and I thought it was I thought it was fake. I thought it was AI because I burst out laughing when I seen it. This is Dustborn I'm talking about. So there was a scene in a bar where there's two police officers sat there, and your character, who is of color, right, and it's like sort of it's like a I would say, like, like the Fallout dialogue system. Raw, back me up here if I'm talking nonsense, but it's like the sort of dialogue system where you pick to say what you want, and obviously what you say has an impact and has repercussions, all that sort of thing.
A
So yeah, there's
role-playing
these,
game.
yeah, basically, yeah, in a nutshell, yeah. But there's this part, right, and I've only seen the clip where the female protagonist is talking to the two police officers, and the police officers say something, right, and it gives you an option, and one of the options, I'm not lying, right, this is in the game, right, it comes up with a selection, and it's got triggered as the selection, triggered, right, and
Right.
the button selected triggered, and she screams at these two police officers, "You're a racist!" It's like,
Oh
no,
my
this isn't.
god.
I was like, no, this isn't real. No,
Oh
no, I was
my
like,
god.
I did a like a double, triple check to see if this was AI, if this was like, somebody had made this and like, it was some sort of parody, but it wasn't. It was actually in the game. Like, and I just, like, my mind was blown. I was like, are
It's
you serious?
ridiculous.
Are you serious? The trigger option. The trigger option. What is that? That is that, and that, there you go. I mean, that sums that game up. Do you
Hey,
know?
it's still doing better than Fallout 4's dialogue.
I
It would have been two yeses, a trigger, than a no.
yeah.
Like,
But honestly, I mean,
Jesus.
that's I think what we've just talked about there is enough to, like, it's covered it, right? It's like,
Yeah, yeah, that one
you
scene
know,
is all you need to know about the game, pretty much. The numbers and knowing that little bit of info, like, you can kind of piece together what is going on in this game, what's going on behind the scenes with this game.
yeah. And can I just say as well, right? Even though I'm bashing this game, right? These developers have got the right to create their own games, right? They if they want to make this game, then fine, absolutely. If they want to use their creative passion to create this game, absolutely great. However, right, what's going to happen, right? When we talk about the modern audiences, is that no one's going to play this game. No one wants
Yeah.
to play this sort of game. So, I mean, respect. I'll always give respect to talented devs, gaming companies that want to try a new angle and stuff like that. However, read the room. Come on, that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? Read the room. That's the last thing I'll say about that. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory what has gone on there. Like you said, Raw.
Well, yeah, to carry on with the podcast, we got plenty more to talk about with this in the future. I'm sure there's going to be some more news coming around with this kind of political agenda, or not political agenda, excuse me, dear God, the woke agenda, you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's talk about some game deals that are going on right now. A lot of the hype is being built up around Gamescom, and there's a lot of good deals on Steam right now, kind of revolving around that. Just real quick, Mafia the Old World was recently announced, and to kind of build up hype around that, the definitive edition trilogy for Mafia is only $14.99 on Steam, $7.49 for each one of the games if you want them individually. Dying Light, what's the new one? Dying Light The Beast was recently announced.
Yeah.
Dying Light 2 is on sale for $23.99, Dying Light 1 for $3.99. The rest of the DLCs for both of those games are on sale as well. Uh, if you have any interest in the upcoming Stalker 2 release, you have all the Stalker series on sale for less than $5 a piece, as well as the Metro Saga. You can get the entire Metro Saga for about $10 roughly, and that includes Metro 2033 and Last Light Redux, as well as Metro Exodus and its expansion pass. The money for value on that is crazy. If you guys have not played the Metro series somehow and are Fallout fans, like definitely go give that one a shot. Less than $10 and you're getting a whole lot of value right there. But yeah, just wanted to get those quick little game sales out, let you guys know about that if anyone's interested. But enough of the games that we are able to play right now. Blue, what do we have to look forward to?
Right, so I watched Gamescom, the live, just like all the games that are going to be are getting released or revealed and stuff like that. And to say I was quite underwhelmed. There were some games that caught the eye, and there's the obvious ones we've chatted about before. But sorry, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there's Space Marine 2. Those are ones that kind of caught my attention. The new Mafia game was trailered. I'll touch on that later. But the other ones, well, the first one I want to talk about is Indiana Jones. Like, so Bethesda, so
Yes, yes.
relates to the channel, Bethesda, Fallout, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the new Indiana Jones game is coming out. Indiana Jones. Whoever, like, everyone's watched the Indiana Jones movies, right? I mean,
Right.
I'm still haunted by the Temple of Doom and that scene where he removes his heart. That's horrible. I remember that scene so much in my head. Like, but yeah, the game itself. So Indiana Jones, he's one of the most like iconic characters that everybody knows. Whether from the classic films, like I said, the old school games, or even just like the iconic fedora and whip combo. Do you know everybody knows
Hold on,
Indiana
real
Jones? Who
quick,
he is.
super fast. We can go right back on topic. But speaking of the certain agendas and all that crap that are being put, have you seen the latest movie? Did you actually watch that?
I did not.
Okay, we'll cover that after stream. We'll talk about that later. Carry on. Oh my God.
Oh God. Right, yeah, but again, Bethesda's taking the reins with Indiana Jones, so it's kind of big news. So Bethesda's known for their RPGs like the Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and now they're obviously working on the Indiana Jones game, and it's been previewed at Gamescom, and it
Right.
raises a lot of interesting possibilities. So let's break it down a little bit, so if we can speculate about what it's going to bring to the table. It's been developed by Machine Games, the studio behind the recent Wolfenstein titles. So yeah, there's got a lot of people buzzing because those games are praised for their like storytelling and tight gameplay mechanics. I remember playing the Wolfenstein games. I've still got them in my backlog. I think I've still got to play some of them as well. I've got to
Very
make
good
some time for
games.
that.
Very fun
Yeah, very
games.
good games. But yeah, and Todd Howard, the producer, obviously from Bethesda, he's involved in the project. Given his track record, there's a lot of hope with the Indiana Jones games, and both will deliver. Will deliver with both terms of narrative depth and expansive world building, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, he's quite tight-lipped about the specifics of the game. We got the teaser, like I said, and the teaser, in fact, was back in 2021, but we've got more of a sort of preview trailer again of what it's going to be, and it shows Indy at his desk with all the classic element, the map, compass, the whip, the hat, but not so much the gameplay or story details as yet. But it does look, I mean, it looks promising. I mean, it's handled by the same guys that did Wolfenstein, so they took that franchise and injected it with a ton of new life, whilst kind of staying to its roots. Obviously the Wolfenstein games back in the day, that was before, I think it was before Doom actually, the original Doom games. So yeah, I mean, I thought Bethesda did quite a good job with Wolfenstein. I don't know what you think, Raw, about the Wolfenstein game. I thought they were quite fun.
Oh yeah, I loved them, man. They were so much fun. The narratives were kind of crazy. Like, the
Yeah,
narratives were crazy, but they're definitely fun games for sure.
yeah. And what we're expecting here is like the type of game it's going to be. We're talking like a linear action game in the style like sort of Uncharted series or something,
Yeah,
or
that's
something
pretty
more
good.
open world with like exploration, puzzle solving, kind of akin to like Tomb Raider slash Skyrim ish. Do you know what I mean? That sort of way it's
Right.
going to be leaning. Um, but it's going to be like a semi-open world, maybe not as vast as Skyrim, but with large interconnected hubs that give players the freedom or the freedom and experience to explore, find hidden artifacts, and uncover secrets. The things that you'd expect Indiana Jones to be doing. For like kind of reference to the films and all that sort of stuff. But you can't have an indie game without the ancient temple puzzles, all that sort of
Right.
stuff. part of well, it makes some of the most of the movies memorable, and Indy always has to outsmart the traps, figure out the clues, and I'm kind of hoping for some sort of creative puzzle design that makes you feel like a true archaeologist, like Indiana Jones is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
that's the
be
sort of
honest, I
theme.
wasn't too hopeful for this until seeing that latest interview with the oh my God, who was that bro, who was that interview with? Uh
You've lost
oh
me.
my
I don't know.
God. The latest interview at Gamescom, anyway, they were talking about how they're seeking to find balance in the game. They wanted to, of course, like you were just saying, they wanted to be primarily action adventure, but they're also toying with like the whole balance around Indiana Jones with like the horror and the comedy and the cinematic pieces. But of course, it's going to be action oriented, but they're trying to find that nice balance because one of the questions for them was like, how are you interworking comedy in here? And they made it very clear like there's going to be comedic tones, there's going to be comedic aspects, but they don't want to lean too far into that. And I hope that they do find that right balance because if this comes out being some like corny, well, I don't think it will actually. Let's not even speculate too much on that. I'm a bit more hopeful after watching that interview. That's the short story.
Yeah, if they can nail the balance between like action, exploration, puzzle solving, well, like, delivering a compelling story, I think it could be a standout if you're like an Indiana Jones fan. If you love the
Right.
films, I think they could do that. But there's a lot riding on the game. But if they pull it off, we might have the ultimate Indiana Jones experience on our hands. You never know. But yeah, we'll be definitely keeping a close eye on any new developments, and you can bet we'll be back with more as soon as we know. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much covers Indiana Jones. Like if you're into
Well,
the movies and sort of into that sort of like what was the game I initially said, the Uncharted series. I think it's
right.
gonna be kind of like that.
One thing to definitely note with that is set to release December 9th as of right now. But it's releasing on Xbox and Steam. It's not going to be coming to a PlayStation 5 until spring of 2025,
Yeah,
which kind of sucks. Like, for the PlayStation fans, I know it sucks, but I mean, we've been expecting this. It's been kind of looked forward to at this point, honestly. Like, Bethesda was acquired by Microsoft back in what, like 2018, 2019, 2020, somewhere around there, right?
yeah, something like that.
It's been a few years at least, and I think as far as I'm aware, this is the first like release that's not being immediately dropped on PlayStation 5 as well. Like, yeah. Yeah, that's just something of note though. It kind of sucks to see, but at least it's not a Fallout game. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
it's something completely different. But yeah, I mean that was one of the first games that sort of piqued my interest in Gamescom. But like I said, the other games were really like sort of underwhelmed. A lot of them I don't know, man. A lot of them just kind of looked. They didn't blow me away in terms of, oh, that looks kind of revolutionary. Not in just terms of like graphics wise, but gameplay. A lot of it was like rehashed stuff, and a lot of the games looked like they were still 2013, 2014. And I'm not exaggerating. There's a lot of
Right.
stuff in there that I was just kind of like, it's not really getting me excited, for. I don't want it. There was none that I was like wish listing or putting on my games list, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them were. There was I'm not going to go into this one, but too much. But Path of Exile 2 was something that I kind of like to look at. I mean, I think that's going to be free to play. I kind of like the
Gotcha.
first one. That was okay, but yeah, a lot of the other ones just didn't take my fancy, and I don't know if that was just my the type of game that I was looking for. But the ones that stuck out, like I said, were probably Space Marine 2. I'm really looking forward to that. We touched on that in the last podcast, and what was the other one? Mafia looked interesting. I've not played any of the
Right.
Mafia games, but the trailer that was very interesting. What was the other one that was that popped up as well? I think it was. I can't remember now. I think it was. Yeah, I'll get back to that. But yeah, if we're going to go into other games, what was the other game you were wanting to
Mouse
talk about,
Pie
Rob?
for Hire.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
was a game that I've had eyes on for, I don't know, a few months now. To be honest with you guys, I can't remember exactly where I saw it. I feel like I saw this watching either a Civi or a G-Man Lives, if you're familiar with them on YouTube.
Mm,
I'm pretty sure I was watching one of their videos when they mentioned it, because they're huge into boomer shooters. And you want to talk about something unique, something with its own kind of charm and like completely changing pacing. This is a boomer shooter style game, but it's got like a cartoon aesthetic of like a 1920s, 1930s Mickey Mouse style cartoon. This
yeah,
thing looks crazy, bro. Like this is so unique.
yeah. So what I gather from this and like from my research, it takes like It's like so the game Mouse PI for Harris. It's like it's something different, and it takes the classic private investigator trope and flips it on its head, like into a boomer shooter type thing. Instead of like
Right,
your typical grizzled chain smoking detective, you got this tiny little determined mouse, and it's like someone's mashed up the Maltese Falcon and Stuart Little. So it kind of
right.
looks. That's what it kind of looks like. The premise alone is enough to grab you. I mean, a mouse solving crimes in a world where he's dwarfed by pretty much everyone around him, and it's ripe for so many creative possibilities. But what's cool is that it's not just played for laughs or cuteness. There's a real depth in there. And I mean, you mentioned the boomer shooter. It looked kind of, not graphic, but it's looked kind of gritty as well with this
Right.
mouse with his firearms and stuff. But it looks like the world building's top notch. It's like set in, like I said, a gritty urban landscape that feels like a mix of classic noir cities. Like think Gotham meets Zootopia with an edge.
Gotham meets Utopia,
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah,
With
man. That's what it
guns.
looks like.
With guns.
Yeah. So the contrast between the small size of the protagonist and the big stakes, he really amps up the tension. Do you know what I mean? That's what the kind of the vibes I'm getting. But it's got that dark, moody feel with lots of shadow work that just screams noir. But there's also like the whimsical touch too. There's like you got the detailed, realistic city landscapes with the tiny mouse-sized doors and cars.
Right.
It's attention to detail that makes the world feel so lived in. From what I'm getting at, from seeing like the gameplay footage. But yeah, the visuals are really what makes the series stand out. I mean, what you got? What you got from that, Raw? Is that something that excites you a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't really cover too many boomer shooter type games here on the channel. To be honest, you already know I'm kind of more into the whole role playing thing, but I do love a
Yeah,
good shooter here and there as well. I like just kind of going mindless shooting fun, and this looks like something that would be a blast to play. And one thing that really opens it up to the vast majority of people as well. Like I know a lot of people don't have any crazy high-end system, but this game obviously it's not too graphically demanding, but the specs for this is kind of crazy. This is a brand new game that's coming out in 2025. And here, I'll pull it up so you guys can see it on screen as well. It requires Windows 7 or later, an Intel Core 2 Duo, 4 gigs of RAM, a GeForce 9800 GT, and only 4 gigabytes of available storage. So you'll be able to play this on a literal potato if you guys wanted to.
yeah, you can do that. It's like, but I think, like Raw touched on, it's got the boomer shooter element, but apparently the dialogue's quite sharp as well, witty, and has the classic detective sort of story flair to it. You can tell that the writers paying homage to the greats. Like I'm looking here at Raymond Chandler and a few others that also have a modern sensibility to it. Like the mouse, well, Tough has these moments of vulnerability that makes him like kind of really relatable.
Right.
This is the sort of stuff that I've looked at. But yeah, they start small, like making cheese, but then they unravel into bigger. Like I'm talking about the cases, more complex mysteries that touch on themes of like corruption, loyalty, and survival. And it's surprisingly deep for something that could have just been a bit of a novelty act. You know what I mean? So it's a lot.
Right.
There's a deeper like dive into it. It's not just going to be like a boomer shooter. Like I said, it's going to be like a detective story with a bit of a twist. And it's definitely something unique. It's something that's going to be different out there. And I'm all for that. I'm all for the sort of
For sure.
different experience. But yeah, that's what that kind of looks at. It looks kind of exciting, so it's great. It's if it's perfect for fans of detective stories, you want something fresh. But I guess it'll be also great for like younger players as well who might want it to be in a new genre that can appreciate the story and doesn't talk down to them kind of thing. I see it could become a favorite in both like the indie comic circles and the mainstream readers who stumble upon it. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for that game.
Definitely looking forward to it. Another game that I am very much looking forward to, but I definitely see this one going more mainstream, is Avowed. You guys
Yeah,
probably already know. If you don't know what Avowed is, that is the next RPG coming out from Obsidian, creators of Fallout New Vegas and Knights of the Old Republic. Great, great company. If you want to take over for just a second, you want to talk a bit about it.
Yeah, so those who might not be in the loop, so Avowed is an up and coming first person RPG, like Ross says, from Obsidian, the same studio behind, obviously the Outer Worlds, Fallout New Vegas, Pillars of Eternity. The game's set in the world of Aurora, which fans of Pillars of Eternity will recognise. So, like it's going to be Obsidian are like well known for their writing and stuff like that. So it's going to be like
Yeah.
more of an immersive and expansive RPG than we've seen from Obsidian in recent years, apparently. So there's like a blend. They're blending the deep lore and rich storytelling they're known for with like a more action orientated first person perspective. So like I think they're aiming for something that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the likes of the Elder Scrolls series, but not obviously the Elder Scrolls series. A lot of people calling the Obsidian answers to the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. That's what a lot of people are kind of comparing it to, but by a different twist. But the
Right.
early footage definitely gives off those vibes, and like, um, I mean, what do you think sets like Avowed apart from the Skyrim and similar games? What do you think from just the footage itself, Raw?
Um, no Bethesda jank.
Yeah, yeah,
I, it does no. The combat looks pretty cohesive. It's still got a
yeah.
little bit of jank to it. Like it doesn't look perfect, but it's definitely an improvement. It really reminds me of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. To be honest with you, that's what the combat reminds me more of than anything.
Yeah, so like I mean, like I've already stated, so the place is going to be it's going to be set in a place called Aurora, which is a world that's been well established in the Pillars of Eternity games. Now I don't know if we're all familiar with those, but I love the Pillars of Eternity games 1 and 2. They're great, obviously made by Obsidian, but so you're going to expect a lot of lore and history baked into it, whereas Skyrim was more about like exploring a vast open world with a lot of freedom, but Avowed like seems like it's going to be like a take place in like place stronger emphasis on like narrative depth and player choices that have meaningful consequences. So yeah, like we're
Yeah.
looking at sort of the Bethesda side, but also Obsidian, which I think, my opinion, did a better job in terms of like New Vegas and stuff when it comes to the creative side of it and the writing. But yeah,
That's one
that's
thing
my
they've
opinion.
definitely been leaving or leaning into in their discussions as well. Like when they were talking about the game, they definitely made an emphasis that player choice matters. They want replayability. They want multiple different play styles. They want you to have freedom in a play style to where you're not necessarily locked in, but if you kind of want to switch up midway through, you can, kind of modern role playing games, you're not really locked into a certain play style for the entire game. But more than anything, player choice matters. The factions, however that whole system's going to work, that's really going to matter because they talked about multiple endings and that's one thing that I love. Role playing games, you get so much bang for your buck, especially when they're pulled off right. And I know a lot of people have strong feelings towards Obsidian, be they good or bad. A lot of people feel that early game Obsidian is better than end game Obsidian, and in a lot of aspects, I do agree. But I'm still looking forward to this. Like this is one of the few games that I'm cautiously optimistic about a lot of them, but this one I'm just like screw it. I'm throwing caution to the wind. I do not care. I'm gonna enjoy this game. Whether it turns out to be my game of the year or not, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they balance the traditional RPG elements with the more like modern first person action gameplay. But from what I've seen and what's been teased, it sounds like magic and combat will be a big focus. Where
Hey,
like some
whoa, hold on. Have you seen, bro? I'm sorry. Have you seen this trailer? The general cinematic. I did not notice the courier was in here. It's got the courier and the cazadors.
all right, no, I've not.
Oh my God, what is this? You guys on stream, everyone in chat right now, have you seen this before? This is literally my first time actually seeing this trailer. I did not know that they included that. That was crazy. Well, my bad. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh man, right, he's getting excited. Right, going back to what I was saying.
I saw New
Uh,
Vegas and lost it.
yeah, he's lost it, man. Yeah, but I was talking about the how they're going to balance the sort of gameplay, the combat and stuff, and what it's been said, it looks like Magic and Combat will be a big focus with customization options, and we've seen glimpses of the spell casting and like the melee combat. It suggests like more of a fluid and dynamic system. So I wouldn't be surprised to see like a system that allows for a lot of experimentation with like different play styles, which I like. Kind of like what they did with the Outer Worlds, but on a grander scale, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it looks really really good. It looks like they're putting a lot of effort into making spell casting feel more powerful and unique. So the visuals I've seen so far with those glowing runes and immersive effects seem to be like on a whole new level in terms of combat. So yeah, I mean that's kind of exciting. Obsidian is known for giving players a lot of freedom and how they approach situations, whether it be dialogue, combat, or exploration. But I'd love to see a mix of like the open world exploration with dungeons and quests, but that offer the multiple solutions as well as depending on your character skills and decisions, your classic RPG stuff. And of course, the deep role playing elements where your choices have impact on the world and story. You've seen all those things before, but hopefully they can implement them all in a different and sort of unique experience for Evolved. But yeah, looks a decent game, which I'll be definitely getting and wishlisting soon.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm super excited for Val. This one thing, there's so many good games coming out like late this year, early next year. I'm gonna be broke. There's so many good games coming out.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, Up next we got Borderlands 4. I am a huge Borderlands fan. I have covered Borderlands several times on the channel. It has been a while, but I have done playthroughs, I've done modding, I've done all that stuff with Borderlands. Borderlands 4, okay, rewind slightly. The Borderlands movie came out and was a complete flop. I think that the timing of this was supposed to be like the movie was gonna be a success, but well they wanted it to be a success. And then soon after they're gonna announce Borderlands 4, but I guess they just went ahead and carried on with that. The teaser trailer was very basic. Just kind of they picked up a Psycho mask and that was about it. That was about all it was. But there was a couple of images that were also released, and if you guys are familiar with the Borderlands like YouTube side of everything, Jolt's dude is a major YouTuber that's been covering Borderlands for years. I was watching Jolt's when I was really young. Uh, he tweeted out this image you can now see on screen right here. Sorry, this image. And Randy Pitchford, head of Gearbox, actually responded to him. Joel said, "This looks like Handsome Jack is returning for Borderlands 4. The vault symbol perfectly aligned, and if you look on Jack's face without his mask on, he has that arching vault symbol over like the middle of his face, covering his left eye, and then the exact same thing is seen here." Randy Pitchford responded, "That's not Handsome Jack. This is something far more dangerous and sinister." That this right here was so much more interesting to me than that trailer ever could have been. Like, this line has got me so curious what they actually plan to do. Like, are we gonna see a proper return to form where Borderlands story is actually a little bit more coherent and cohesive? Like, my God, I love Borderlands 3 gunplay. They did so much stuff right as far as improving the guns and the way that weapons react, the effects, the particles, all that kind of stuff was done so well in Borderlands 3, but the story was complete trash, and the uh the antagonists, the Calypso twins, I hated them. I could not stand them. But if he's calling Jack, like if he's putting whatever this new threat is above Jack, that's gonna be crazy. And I'm so hyped just off of that one line right here. Like I know that you're not as well versed with Borderlands Blue, but as a huge Borderlands fan, seeing Randy Pitchford say like put Jack down basically compared to this other thing, whatever this other entity is, I'm excited.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not very versed in. I had Borderlands 2, played a little bit. My memories of Borderlands 2 were it was a good game, it was decent enough, and it's a good shooter and stuff like that with interesting characters. But there was a little robot that annoyed the hell out of me. It looked like he
That
did my
trap.
yeah, man, I don't
Yeah.
like him at all. Yeah, he annoyed the. I can't. I'm trying not to swear here, but he
All
annoyed
right.
me, and I think that was one of the reasons I put the game down. To be honest with you. But yeah, the Borderlands. I mean, I might dip into it again, but it was Borderlands 2 that I played. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I've not got much on this for you here. So if you're excited about the new Borderlands thing, good for you.
I'm excited and we're moving on.
Yep.
Stalker 2. Go ahead. I know you got a lot to talk about with this one. Stalker 2, they are dead set on hitting the release window this November. I hope to God that they can hit it. If they need the extra time, by all means, please take it. Um, let's see. So, recently, let me pull this up so you guys can see as well. Stalker 2 dev says the game is huge, takes 100 hours to fully beat, and was built entirely by hand. Again, bro, attention to detail. The devs that really take their time and create games that they know I mean, games by gamers for gamers. You know, there's multiple aspects in this article and multiple articles that have been released lately. They're talking about how many of the buildings, well, not many of all the buildings were handmade. There's certain assets and stuff that, of course, are going to be reused, but there's not going to be a same copy and paste building anywhere on this entire map. There's not going to be a same copy and paste room in this entire map. And from what they were saying, the map is huge. The had a chance to sit down with the technical producer at Gamescom, and he said it was quite a challenging task making a map that isn't just expansive but also memorable. Of course, you can make a big map, but it should still first of all be playable, beautiful, and as a player should remember the locations of the zone. Like the attention to detail that these devs put into their games is crazy. I just recently picked up Stalker, what is it? Shadow of
Gamma,
Chernobyl. No, I got Gam. I got what's the other Chernobyl one? The crap.
Shadow of Chernobyl, and there's oh, what was the other one? I'll have a look now while you have a chat. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, I just recently got into the Stalker series, and I can already see the attention to detail. I see why they were so popular. It's a little hard to go back to now. The graphics and stuff are really dated. Gameplay mechanic. Well, to be honest, on PC, the gameplay still feels okay. It doesn't feel too bad, but it's still got like his scanning. It feels like, and it's a little off, but I can see the
Yeah,
attention to detail.
the game, like, so there was original Stalker, there was Shadow of Chernobyl, and then there was Clear
Shadow of
Sky, and
Chernobyl. That's it.
then there's Call of Pripyat as well, which I played. But then the up and coming one, Stalker 2, is Heart of Chernobyl. Yeah, so that's the one
Okay,
we're
Heart
gonna
of
be
Chernobyl.
we're
Gotcha.
yeah, we're really hyped for, and looking forward to. But I think I touched on a lot of the stuff in the last podcast. I'm really excited for it. I love the Stalker games, and it's just like Ross said, it's going to be like open world, and the map is huge, but the content of the map's going to be important. The different areas and stuff like that, which I've already seen, and it looks like it's going to be an immersive map, something that's going to be interesting and not just full of filler. Do you know what I mean? Every area is going to be like kind of unique. The stalkers themselves, the AI of the NPCs and things like that. Again, I touched on it in the last podcast, but that's going to be really sophisticated, where you've got other AI NPCs that are going to be hunting you and stuff like that. The AI of the actual in the combat, where they're going to look to try and flank you and things like that. It's supposed to
Right.
be really, really good. And I remember it from like the previous Stalker games. It was up to a high standard as well. So if they're up in that, then I'm really excited in terms of the gameplay mechanics of it, and how it's going to keep you on your toes as you progress through like the wasteland area of like Chernobyl and that. It's going to be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, if you guys have anything to add to this as well, I know there was a lot of games announced at Gamescom. If there's anything that you guys want us to cover or anything that maybe we missed, because I haven't watched the entirety of Gamescom to be honest with you, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the games that we're covering so far. Thank you all for being here with me. This is RawCast with RawTactics TrueBlue. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please consider hitting that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share the stream, get us some additional exposure. And without any further ado, let's get back to the crap show, shall we? I've never done that on the RawCast before. I had to throw it in, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you sorry, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Uh,
Yeah, see something I just remembered. It's like off top. It's like, but it is Gamescom. There was like a little section of Gamescom that made me cringe. Like I'm trying not to swear again, but it's like
right.
there was a guy burst into tears on stage. Did anybody see that? Anybody in chat see that? A guy burst into stage, burst into tears on stage, just about to announce
Turned
his
into a
game trailer.
Rawtastic
Yeah,
stream. Oh my
yeah.
god.
I wasn't gonna say that, man. I wasn't gonna say that.
Hey, you gotta laugh it off, man. It's all good. It's all good.
Definitely, man. But yeah, that was one of the moments where I was like, "What am I watching, man? What is this?" And like, I don't know if I was in that audience, I didn't know I wouldn't know where to look. This guy was clearly, quite emotional about his up and coming project. I can't even remember what it was, because I just looked away from the screen. I was like, "Well, what's going on here? This guy's bursting into tears."
Oh
I
Jesus.
don't know if anybody's seen that, right? But that was just yeah. I just touched on that a little bit. If anybody in the chat's seen that, please, or if anybody didn't see it, go check it out, because it's worth a laugh. I mean, a watch.
Right. I'm
Yeah,
definitely gonna have to
but
look at that. You were telling me about that right before we went live. I didn't know any of that. Like I just told you guys, I have not seen Gamescom this year. I've been seeing like articles and stuff come out afterward, but I haven't had time to just sit down and watch it.
yeah, but anyway, moving on for that, I think the next game we're going to talk about is the new Dying Light game, right?
Oh my God. Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so
Right, here he
ready.
goes. Here
I
he goes.
haven't
He's
seen too
excited.
much about it, but Jesus.
He's excited again.
I saw Bethesda, or not Bethesda, Jesus Christ, never mind. Moving on. So there was a short trailer released for Dying Light, The Beast, which I can bring up on screen for you guys. Uh, the trailer is relatively short, but it seems very cinematic. They're definitely, it looked like they're leaning a little bit more into the horror aspect of Dying Light. I played the original Dying Light on release. I played Dying Light 2 on release. My wife and I pre-ordered it, played that game together. I played through the following, like, and that's one thing that I definitely want to note. You're playing at least one of the playable characters. From what it sounds like, there could be multiple. Uh, but it was stated that Kyle Crane from the original Dying Light returns as a playable character in Dying Light: The Beast. How that
Mhm.
happens, how that works, I'm kind of not sure. Have you played Dying Light: The Following? Have you ever beaten that, Blue?
Right. So I'm gonna have a quick look at my Steam library. So I played one of the Dying Lights, maybe two. I'm just trying to refresh myself, right? So let's have a look at my Steam library. I think I played Dying Light, the very first one. I'll just double check that. Sorry, I'm just scrolling, scrolling,
Dying Light:
scrolling.
The Following was a major DLC release that was released for that, and if you haven't played it, I don't necessarily want to give spoilers. Like I know the game's kind of old, but without giving too much away, the ending it ends in a couple ways, and one that I thought was the canon ending, your player is not making that out of like you're not making it away from that. You get what I'm saying? Like that would be
Yeah.
a game ending thing for sure. And how he's actually here, how Kyle Crane is actually returned and we can play as him, I am really curious to see what they did with this. I don't know about you,
Yes.
but I love the Dying Light games. This is something that I've considered bringing to the channel multiple times because Dying Light 2, regardless of what you got to say about the story, the gameplay of that is so good. It is so
Yeah.
fluid. The parkour system in that and the melee, like what they started with on what's it called, Dead Island, and
Yeah.
they improved it and improved it and improved it. And Dying Light 2 is just it's an amazing game in my opinion. I'm so excited to see what they're doing with this one.
Yeah. I remember. So I've just looked at my Steam library, and the only one I've played is Dying Light. Good Night, Good Luck. That's the one I played.
Right.
So I remember it, and I remember it being awesome, right? But then you just touched on a game that remembered. I played Dead Island, right? And I remember Dead Island's got probably the best intro I've ever seen. Do you remember the intro
Yeah,
to Dead Island?
yes I do. That was sick. The dude running with the headphones on.
No, 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 no,
Oh
not
no,
that
that wait,
rubbish.
is that one? That one's
No, that's
Riptide.
that. Yeah, I'm talking about the first one where it's in reverse and it's got the
The
family
girl.
fighting for their
Oh
lives.
yes, the little girl.
Yeah, I mean that was when I seen that it was like a movie, and I think yeah it absolutely blew me away. It was proper emotional as well, right? And
Dang. Yeah.
I remember someone on YouTube creating it because it was obviously in-game footage, but someone made it into a movie, and it was like mind-blowing. Someone you need to find that at some point if you've not seen it, Raw. Someone's actually made like they've got actors in and they've recreated that scene, but they've also changed it from reverse to forward because obviously the trailer was in reverse, right? But yeah,
Right.
going off, it's a bit off topic, but that blew me away. I remember seeing that trailer for Dead Island, but yeah, it's great. But going back to the Dying Light, so it's what's it called? Dying Light the Beast, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like you touched on the parkour system and stuff like that. It's like I'm really looking forward to like I'm a big zombie fan. You know, any zombie sort of games, I like that. But the series has always done a great job. Sorry, of blending like parkour, like survival and horror into one like sort of thrilling package. And from what I've seen and heard so far, the Beast seems to be like pushing the boundaries a little bit further. I mean, like just the name itself, the Beast, it suggests that we're in
Right.
for something a wee bit more intense than the previous games. So like the Beast said to, like, I'm having a little look, and it's said to be like a new chapter in the franchise, but not a direct sequel to Dying Light 2. It's going to be more of a standalone spin-off that takes place in a new location with a fresh story, but within the same universe. So that's what I'm kind of getting here.
Right.
And I think what's intriguing about the spin-off is that they're diving a bit deeper into the idea of the humans turning into beasts. I don't know how much I feel about that, because I'm more like, they kind of done that with the Resident Evil series, didn't they? It was like they went from zombies into some, the
Yeah.
zombies evolving and stuff like that. But the trailer shows glimpses of these like hulking mutated creatures that are far more like terrifying than the zombies are supposed to be. And it's almost like they're evolving, like I said, into something else entirely. So it's something more intelligent and deadly that you're going to be facing, I guess. I know there probably be the standard zombies in there as well, but you've got, as the title clearly says, like the beasts in there. So
Right.
yeah, it's not just the enemies that are getting an upgrade apparently as well. It's the environment. So the game itself, the region, it's called the Wasteland. Oh, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? A desolate area
Just a little
filled with
bit.
like, yeah, just with like not just undead, but like obviously, like I said, these mutated beasts that roam around. And from what I've heard, the terrain's more challenging, so the parkour system will probably be different. It'll be a little bit more evolved with lots of verticality, and like there's harsh weather conditions being put into it, where more reliance on crafting to survive. So the survival element apparently is going to be more of a focus, as previous games have done. But like I said, I only played the first one, which I really enjoyed. But I mean, that's something I'm kind of interested in. I'm going to be like sort of watching where like closely to see the sort of progression they've gone from the zombies to like the beasts, because I don't know how that's gonna. I don't know how I feel about that. I like my zombies. I like them just to be kind of standard, but it'd be interesting to see what they do, what kind of stuff they pull off to make these beasts what they are, and how they operate in the game itself. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be like definitely a game that I'll be wishlisting and I'll be playing as well. So see what happens with that. But I'd imagine it'll come with its own set of challenges, like managing when to use like weaponry, and how dealing with certain circumstances and the consequences of using stuff too often, things like that. And the story itself, well, we don't know too much about that. The developers have hinted that the beast will explore more the origins of the virus itself and how it's mutating. So again, that's going to be pretty interesting. The main character is someone who's been deeply affected by these mutations apparently, and we're going to see a more personal, like emotional journey as they grapple with their own humanity. So it sounds like it's going to be quite in depth. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it's definitely interesting. But I will be delving into this game when it comes out. Have you got the sort of release dates or when it's going to be coming out? Raw, I don't seem to have
No,
that at the
no
minute.
release date yet, but one major note is anyone who has the Ultimate Edition of Dying Light 2 Stay Human will be receiving this for free. That is amazing. I very much appreciate that. I'm like 95% sure that I actually have the Ultimate Edition. So if so, well, even if not, we are going to be playing this on stream. This is definitely going to be on the channel one way or another. Like, this is another
Yeah.
game. I'll be broke as hell, but it is what it is. Bro, okay, real quick on that note, like, I know to be cautiously optimistic, but my God, this Gamescom, like, I know you said it was kind of lackluster, but the amount of games that we're having right now that I'm actually at least kind of looking forward to, there hasn't been a time like this since probably around 2018. In my eyes, there's not been a whole lot for me to look forward to in the past several years aside from mods. Of course, all the Fallout, like Elder Scrolls Fallout mods, I've been looking forward to that, but main like AAA releases, I haven't been looking forward to much in a long time, man. Right now is kind of a crazy time for me personally.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of the opposite. It's very little that's taking my interest. There's like I said, there's a few games like I said, Space Marine 2, and there's like a few others, Kingdom Come and all that. But there's so many. There was like AAA games that were featured at Gamescom that I was just like, what is that? Is that even a AAA game? Like they're kind of getting overshadowed by the indie studios a little bit. I'm kind of looking forward to a few more indie titles than I am AAA. But yeah, like I said, there are lights there's lights that I'm looking forward to. Like we've talked about it, Stalker 2, Space Marine 2, this Dying Light 2 looks good. Kingdom Come Deliverance obviously looks good. But yeah, I'm cautious. That's the word I'm going to use. I'm
Yeah, very
cautious right
much
now.
so. I'm right there with you, but still, I'm trying to give into it a little bit. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic, you know.
You're more positive than me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I like bashing my head against the wall if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, we know that. We all know that. Everybody knows that. Chat. Does Raw like bashing his head against the wall?
Speaking
I think it
of
does.
Chat, if you guys, you know what, you were talking about indie games. I'm not really too well versed with indie games. If you guys would like to see that in a future RawCast where we primarily focus on indie games, upcoming indie releases, recent indie releases, please let us know that as well. We'd be open to ideas. If you have anything you'd like to see specifically, let us know in the comments below or in Discord, as always.
Yeah, cool. And I think this is gonna lead on to the last game we're gonna be touching on, right?
Yep.
Which is Atomfall, right?
Yes, this game looks crazy.
Yep.
Uh,
So,
you
do you want
go
me to take
ahead.
the reins with this, Raw?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm pulling it up.
So, right. So, we've been buzzing for this for a while now. I've heard a lot of good stuff, and I'm kind of pumped to discuss it. So today we're going to be delving into Atomfall. Like it's a highly anticipated game that's been making waves in the community. So Atomfall shaping up to be one of those like most talked about games that about releases of the year potentially, and for good reason. It's like developed by Forge Studios. Those known for their meticulous world building and innovative gameplay mechanics, but Atomfall feels like they're taking things to a new level. So it seems like Forge is one of those studios that always seem to have like the pulse on what gamers want, which is good, which we like, right, Raw? We love that shit.
Right.
I've sworn. I've dropped an S bomb,
You did
right?
it. You did it.
Right, I've done it. So, but up before, like, often we realise it's for ourselves, it's for the gamers. But what really stands out to me about Atomfall is its setting. So the game, lovely stuff. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world. We love that, right? But it's with a twist. It's not just another nuclear wasteland scenario, but instead the world is shaped by a series of catastrophic scientific experiments gone wrong, which, that's pretty intriguing for me,
Right.
leading to bizarre, almost surreal environmental hazards. So that's kind of different. What we've seen for the trailers and the early gameplay footage is the environment feels almost like a character in itself. So you're not just fighting other factions or mutated creatures like a la Stalker or whatever or Fallout, but the world itself is trying to kill you. So that's something completely different. And I'm talking about things like rogue AI controlled weather patterns, unstable zones where the laws of physics don't apply, and other crazy anomalies. So it's like Stalker meets
Right.
Horizon Zero Dawn, if that makes sense, but with more chaotic energy. I mean, that's pretty intriguing, right? I mean, that sounds like a game that I want to play. So it's not like total a rip off of like the Fallout scenario. There's like different elements to it, which focuses heavily on like the environment, which sounds quite cool to me. The game like itself incorporates elements into its core mechanics. For instance, like survival isn't just about gathering the resources. You have to like constantly adapt to the shifting environmental conditions. So there's this feature called quantum adaptation, where your character can temporarily alter their own physical properties to survive against certain hazards, like turning into a gas to slip through toxic clouds or becoming too dense through the gravity shifts. I mean, nobody's done that, right? I can't think of a
Right.
game that's done that. So that sounds kind of wild, and I love how they're integrating this into like a narrative as well. The protagonist isn't some random survivor; you're a scientist who is directly involved in like the experiments that caused the apocalypse. So already that's intriguing as anything for me. That the game story is about like kind of redemption, discovery, and grappling with the consequences of your own actions, which adds like an extra layer of emotional depth to the gameplay, I guess. But that sounds like, I mean, Rod, did you know anything about that at all? What I've just covered, because to me that's very different.
Everything that you just said was entirely new to me.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that sounds quite intriguing, right?
yeah, for sure, man. Like, I was already intrigued by this just by watching the trailers and like the little bit of information I knew about it. But that sounds crazy. And the fact that
Yeah.
you actually have history with this and you're part of the reason that the world has come to the point it's at now, that's crazy. I want to see how they
Yeah.
incorporate that into the story.
Right, so again, I'm going to go into like, the story, like what you just said, the story. It looks like it's going to be like a major highlight, but apparently there's going to be a multiplayer aspect as well. So Atomfall has it's supposed to have a fascinating mix of like cooperative and competitive play in there as well. We have a multiplayer mode where you can team up with other players to tackle some of the more challenging anomalies or fight against rival groups over
Uh,
like resources and stuff like that. But here's the kicker: every decision you make in the multiplayer affects your solo campaign as well. So I
nice.
mean, I've never had that. So
Uh,
if you decide to like sabotage another group, sorry, you want to say something?
yeah, if you're not familiar with the Rebellion, like the Sniper Elite series and what's it called? The Zombie Army series. They have really fun multiplayer. They've always had like a good. They really just open their campaign up. It's like playing an old Call of Duty game where you could actually play like online co-op with someone and play through the entire like campaign multiplayer.
Yeah.
That's one thing that Rebellion's always been good with. I could see how that could be implemented into this game as well. But you said that you'd be like fighting against other online players and taking on Anomaly. Could you repeat
Yeah. So
that?
get Yeah, so get this right. So what I was just saying, so like every decision you make in multiplayer, right,
Right.
affects your solo campaign, right? So if like for instance, if you decide to sabotage another group in multiplayer, you might find your base raided by them in your single player game later on,
What? Oh,
right?
that's
I mean that's I
insane.
mean, that's a brilliant way to keep players invested in both modes to me, right? Do you know what I mean? Your
Right.
single player and your co-op, yeah, or your multiplayer, should I say? And it's like they've blended the best aspects of like an MMO and single player RPG into one like cohesive experience. So to me, that's not been done right. And speaking of like the investment, you've got the crafting system's supposed to be incredibly detailed, allowing for like levels of customization that are practically unheard of. So you're not just crafting weapons, you're designing them from the ground up. So choosing how they interact with the game's physics, how they respond to different environmental conditions, like I've already like touched on, and even how they fit into your play style. So again, that's really unique stuff. This is the stuff that I would be as a gamer interested in because it's not been
Right.
done. So it sounds like the levels of detail like are insane. Like you could probably spend hours tinkering with your gear before heading out on a mission. You know, and I kind of love that stuff. Not just the weapons, but the base building itself,
Right.
resource management, along with other players, like multiplayer aspect, and even faction diplomacy playing significant roles. So the game seems to like looks to reward like creativity and the strategic thinking, which is like refreshing in a genre that like that sometimes gets bogged down a little bit and becomes a bit repetitive. Like I'm talking about the grinding aspect, but
For sure.
that sounds really fresh to me, and that's something that I could really get into. So I mean it stands out supposedly with its blended depth, immersive gameplay, with a world that feels alive and unpredictable, like I've already said, and that kind of game that encourages experimentation and makes you think about every choice you make, both in like the moment and in the long run. With like, it's like that's pretty wild that players can sabotage your base. Like, so you could be having a barmy with someone on multiplayer, and they can go into the single player and wreck your base. I mean, that's gonna be controversial. That's gonna be good. So yeah, no two playthroughs are gonna be the same, especially with the procedural generation apparently that's certain areas and narrative paths that are going on. But yeah, I mean, there's even a section that says mods plus the community mods. So I mean,
That's huge.
ArcForge, ArcForge has a history of supporting the modding community. So who knows what kind of stuff we'll see from there in a year or two after the game's release, or maybe even sooner. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, Atomfall is set to release this year, and from what I've heard and the stuff I've touched on, it might be a beta or something or an early access phase coming up soon. So keep your eyes peeled with that one because that's I'm super hyped on that.
If we didn't cover it already, this is like a post-apocalyptic alternate universe 1950s Yorkshire, England. And the developer said that it is exceptionally British with emphasis on exceptionally. So
There you go.
we got Fallout London and then we got this alternative and this thing looks sick, man. Like I'm
Oh
excited
no,
for it.
I'm just thinking it's going to be a lot more top of the mornings coming for you playing this, isn't there?
Oh yeah, it's oh top of the morning to you. It's
Yeah.
not British at all, but
No,
it's
yeah,
all good.
he's going to be taking Irish elements and implementing it this somehow.
I'm be taking the piss for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean that in a nutshell, that game sounds like very different and something that I think that will appeal to a lot of players, especially the guys on this channel. I think you would like the
Yeah.
RPG fans, like the audience, the target audience itself will be definitely um sort of rigged towards this channel. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah.
think a lot of people will like it.
There's gonna be a lot for this channel. Like coming soon. If you guys want to support me, there's plenty of links down below.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, really, that's about all I have to cover from Gamescom, though. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover? Anything that we missed?
No, but I just want to reiterate, anyone that's not seen it, check out that guy crying. It's hilarious. I mean,
Oh,
it's an
Jesus.
experience. It's an experience to behold, right? But yeah, I mean, I think no, I think we've covered everything in terms of the games and the ones that we're sort of excited for, and the other games that are kind of coming through the cracks that maybe you didn't know you weren't aware of. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm really like even just like talking about that the last game, Atomfall. I mean, that sounds really intriguing. So it's definitely something that you would check out. But yeah, I think we've covered everything so far on the well, everything that we've wanted to cover, should I say, Raw. So yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you guys for your time and patience for another RawCast. This was a great conversation, Blue. Always enjoy doing these with you. Uh, Everybody, you know the drill. Do the typical YouTube stuff. Hit the like button, share, tell your friends about us. If there's anything we missed, anything you guys have interest in, please comment that down below. Let us know. We'll look into it and potentially cover that in a future RawCast. But for now, I'm RawTactics. He's TrueBlue. You guys stay active, stay healthy, stay hydrated. We're out of here.
Peace.
Live in stereo.